What is the slope of a line in the standard XY coordinate plane that is parallel to x plus 5y equals 9? This question has lots of different ways to work it out. I'm going to do some of the ways that I see it, and your math teacher might agree or disagree and do it a different way. Real quick, there's some clarifying things that have to happen here in this question, and a lot of students think this is confusing. This whole part of the sentence right here, in the standard XY coordinate plane, is only necessary because in upper level math, we do graph sometimes in what's called a polar coordinate plane, or we can graph in a different plane than we're used to. Don't be confused by that. It's literally just saying, what is the slope of that you're used to? So we have to remember that parallel lines have the same slope. Same slope. That makes sense, guys. If I have a line, for the line to be parallel to it, it has to be sloped the same. So don't think of it as a separate rule to memorize, just think of it logically. It has to be sloped the same. So we have equation x plus 5y equals 9. Well, Miss Johnson prefers to locate the slope whenever it's written in slope-intercept form. So really easily, I can find the m value, which is how much we move on a graph, also known as, or is known as, the slope. So I always think mountains have slope. If I'm going to go hit the slopes, I'm going to go ski down the mountain. So m stands for slope, and it is how much we move. So m is the slope. It's how much we move, which is rise over run. It is also known as the change in the y values compared to the change in the x values. Algebraically, we find it by finding the y values changed or subtracted and the x values changed or subtracted. Some math teachers keep you organized by putting little 2's and 1's here. But all this means the exact same thing. So this should be comforting to us because we've worked with slopes since like 6th grade. So we know that m is the slope and b is called the y-intercept. So his special name is the y-intercept. This is always where you begin graphing. And you always begin graphing on the y-axis. So he is the y-intercept, which hits the y-axis, and it's where you begin. Okay, I say all that to say, M is the letter we want for this question. M is the number that we want to find for this question. So I'm going to rewrite this. If you notice in our slope-intercept form, the y value is isolated. So that's what we have to do for this question. We have to isolate the y value. So mathematically, I have x plus 5y equals 9. I'm going to isolate the y value. So I have to move the x value to the other side of the equation, which is perfectly legal. X minus x creates a 0 pair. So we have 5y equals, I like my x value to come first. So negative x plus 9, because he is a positive 9 sitting here. And then algebraically, we need to divide both sides by 5. So here's what I want you to remember. If I'm dividing both sides by 5, that's really dividing everything in the question by 5. So I prefer to look at it like this. Negative 1/5 x plus 9/5. So if it is going to be parallel, then it is going to have the same slope. And the slope is the m value in y equals mx plus b. So my m value is negative 1/5. Negative 1/5 is the correct answer, as you can see. Now, I want to hop over to a graphing calculator to show you a way that you might be able to bypass all that math if you want to go quicker on a question like this. Notice that I chose to go to Desmos instead of the handheld calculator because your handheld calculator cannot type in x plus 5y, but your Desmos calculator can. And so instead of having to do all that algebra, we can type in the equation exactly how we see it. So we have x plus 5y equals 9. Now, it does graph the line for us, which is great, but we have to figure out what the slope is. So we have to do the algebra that goes along with this question graphically. So I would just pick a point that you see that covers I always call it my crosshairs. that hits my crosshairs pretty perfectly. So I would say right here, at 3, -6 is a good point. And then where does it hit another crosshair pretty perfectly? Probably over here at 4, 1. So let's jot those down. I said the first one was 3, whoops. No, Miss Johnson. -6, 3. We like our X and then our Y. And then I said the other one was probably right here. So here's our first, whoops. Let's use color coding correctly. Here's our first one. And then our second one would be this guy right here over 4, 1. Okay, so then that's our other X and Y value. Okay, so I already told you guys the equation for slope is y minus y over x minus x, y minus y over x minus x. Well, I have color-coded it for you, so I don't have to label with the 1s and the 2s unless you just want to. So my first y value that I'm going to write down is 1, and my first x value that I'm going to write down is 4. So notice it's green, the 4 and the 1. And then I'm going to put my subtraction signs because those are part of the equation in purple. And now I'm going to plug in my orange numbers. So my second y value is 3 and my second x value is -6. Please, please, please notice that I put the negative and the 6, even though there's already a minus sign there. It's different, guys. You have to make sure you understand negative and minus are two different symbols that I have to take into account. So right here I have 1 minus 3 gives me -2 on the numerator. And on the denominator, I have minus and negative, which creates a big old plus sign. That's how my brain sees it. So I get 10 on the denominator, which would result in a fraction of -1/5, which was the correct answer. So again, I like doing the algebra, but Desmos is really helpful as well if you can look at your rise over run.